to self-identify.
Katrina Bowman Thomas, Northern Kentucky Community Action Commission.
Thank you, Katrina.
Alicia Webb, Edgington Life Learning Center.
Thank you, Alicia. All right.
And hi, this is Brian Bozeman with Skanska joining in.
Hello, Brian. Welcome.
And I'm Jared Tiemeyer with Ironworkers Local 44.
Jared, thank you for joining us today. Okay. Well, with that being said, we will roll right into things. We have, you should have received the minutes and those updates should have gone out in advance. Are there any updates, changes, or revisions to the meeting minutes that were shared with the group? Okay. Excellent. So what I'd like to do is if I could please get a motion to approve those meeting minutes.
I move.
This is Jamie, yes.
Is that Shannon making the motion?
Yes.
Thank you. And who was the other person that can be the second?
Jamie?
Jamie?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Excellent. All right, well, thanks everybody. We are just making strides already in today's meeting. So with that being said, Tara, I'm gonna.
Oh, we need a vote still.
Oh, yes. All in favor of approving the minutes, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Thanks, Tara.
Thank you.
All right. I'm trying to get to my meeting minutes screen here.
David, do you want to transition to the agenda for a second?
Yeah, no, I have it right here. Thank you. I just needed to get that back up, and Zoom's been giving me trouble, so I had to dial in from my phone. All right, so a couple of items that we will review today. So we have approval of the minutes. At this time, let's go on to the committee status reports. We'll start with the MBO. John?
I thought I would do the call to action first. So I want to share again the information we talked about last time. We presented the revised bylaws at the last WIB meeting. And today, as the second presentation, we would like to bring this to a vote for approval. Before asking for that motion, I want to give everyone an overview of the changes once again. There are 4 sections that have been modified. On page 6, we've revised the language to explicitly permit attendance via video conferencing. On page 7, we've eliminated the requirement for a majority of business members in standing committees. This still will remain a requirement for the WIB overall. Also, page 7, we revised the language to clarify participation of non-WIB members at the committee level. So it's still encouraged, but it's no longer suggested as mandatory. And then finally, on page 7, we've added inclusive language for adults, dislocated workers, veterans, and peoples with disabilities to better reflect the mission of the WIB. Before I ask for the motion for this, are there any questions that I can cover? Okay. Hearing none, is there a motion to bring this to a vote?
I'll make the motion. This is Dave Schroeder.
Thank you, Dave. A second, please.
I can second that.
Chad Day, a second. Tara, do we need a roll call vote for this specifically, or can we do a general vote?
No, we do not need a roll call vote. We can just.
Okay, perfect. That's easier. So all those in favor, please unmute and say aye.
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 Any opposed? Excellent. The motion carries. Thank you all. And then finally, a brief update from the committee itself. As Tara mentioned at the start of the call, we did develop a new tracking tool to help us better manage attendance. Simplifies what we had in place prior to that. It also helps the staff look at where we might be at risk of quorum, either in the full WIB meeting or the committee meetings. So we can make sure that we can do some outreach and be more proactive to ensure we have the necessary quorum for each of these meetings. It also helps us see, which members may be struggling with attendance and involvement. We really want a very active board and want to understand where the challenges might be, hopefully with the ability to meet virtually, also into the future, obviously. That may remove some barriers, but we certainly understand there are challenges to devoting the time to that. And then finally, we looked ahead. This is still an urgent issue, but certainly we see some terms expiring next year, including some that will impact the leadership of the WIB, and want to make sure we have a clear plan for this. Mainly, we're looking to make sure we have the right institutional knowledge maintained through that transition. There's a lot to sort of understand about the nuts and bolts of this, and it would be helpful to make sure that we have some people in the leadership team with experience as we bring new leadership into the fold. So I would expect we'll have more to share at the next WIB meeting. We will try to meet jointly with the executive committee in October. I've just reached out to Dana to ask for some time for that so we can get their input on the appropriate strategy for that. That's all from MBO.
Okay, thank you, John. And I do appreciate the proactiveness on that front around making sure that we, are retaining that knowledge, the tribal knowledge, and having the right people in place to backfill those positions as we transition into those. Because I think it's a big year. You find that every so often there's almost kind of a big push and change in that. So we'll look forward to having more dialogue around that. All right, let's see. Next, programming youth.
Thank you. I was asked to give a quick update on where we stand with our RFP process. So this week on the 10th, we're going to have the training on the RFP process for all of our committee members. And that is also, I believe, open to any board member. Carrie, you can correct me on that if that's not correct, but I believe that's open to any board member that wants to sit in on that training on the 10th. Just let Tara know if you're not part of the committee and want to sit on that. And then on October the 13th at 8:30, we will be reviewing the 3 RFPs that were submitted for review. And that is a very quick update on our dates and timelines. That's all I have, Michelle. I think you're on mute, Michelle.
Thank you. All right, well, very good. All right, moving right along, Business Services Committee.
Oh, good morning. This is Dave Fleischer. This is my first BSC chair meeting in a long time. So anyway, I got a couple of things to share and I'll try to be as brief as possible. So we had our meeting on August the 19th. We had quorum, so that was a good situation. We heard a lot from a lot of different members from a programming scheme. We heard what was happening between the Career Center and GROW and the WIB staff and how they're making the connection. So that was good to understand. We also got an update on the Career Center restoration of in-person services. I'm happy to announce that we do have 2 locations open now. The CVG location is accepting in-person appointments, and so is Williamstown. And I guess if anything has changed since then, we'll let somebody from the Career Center update me at the end of my program. We also had an update on operator and employer service highlights. Corey provided an update on the virtual Veterans Job Fair. It was pretty successful, 107 attendees with 20 employers. So that was great to hear. And then he also updated us on the employer resource guide. We got some dates in order so that we can start to roll this out very quickly on September 18th. The first draft will be shared with the Business Service Committee on September 25th. Hopefully the BSC will provide feedback formally to Corey via a survey. And then on October 1st, based on the feedback and the next steps, a final version will be made available. And so we're looking forward to that. Additionally, as part of a new part of the BSC meeting, we had a presentation from GROW. GROW talked, as you would expect, to talk about support opportunities and coordination. And one of the things that came up, and I'd like to have everybody keep this in mind, is that they're talking now about the 2020-2021 legislative alignment. So this is going to be a budget year opportunity. So if there's any requests from the WIB, whether it's from the program committee or the BSC or operationally, now is the time to bring that forward so that we can make sure that GROW gets that into the dialogue with the legislation. And then finally, one of the things that we did bring up was an area inside the meeting for new business opportunities. So this gives the business committee membership an opportunity to talk about what's really not on the agenda, what might be out on our radar that we need to look at. So for example, what kind of recovery activities are being voiced to the COVID-19? What kind of new engagement opportunities we might have? How about critical viewpoints from the committee members on what's actually going on? And then we talked a little bit about a process of how to keep the activities of the BSC valid and in place with the membership. So kind of a to-do or thought starter opportunity that we're going to try out to make sure that we can keep the issues in front of the members and keep ourselves ahead of the curve if possible. So sorry for the long report. It's my first one, but I just wanted to get everything out there on the table. And if there's any questions, I'll be more than happy to hear from them or look forward to the attendance at the next BSC meeting. Thanks.
Thanks, Dave, and welcome back.
Oh, thank you, Michelle.
So a couple of quick just things that I noted while you were talking through when we are talking about the budget. And we've touched on this, but childcare is a piece that hasn't typically fallen under that WIB umbrella. And I think it is an area that we need to, if we're talking about looking for, financial support or resources. I don't know what conversations have happened around that specifically, but as you can imagine, it's popping up all over the place as something, as a workforce challenge. And then the other thing that I just wanted to note, it's kind of timely because I'm in strategic planning for my Northern Kentucky SHRM group. I am now the chair for the Strategic Steering Committee for Workforce at the Chamber, and we're having a lot of talk about how can we do a better job of linking up the different groups and making sure that we are meeting the needs of our businesses in the area. And really, again, doing a good job of partnering those. So I think that as we look down the road for workforce on that business services group, I would love to see us maybe, whether it's an ad hoc committee of people from each of those groups or whatever that looks like. I'd like to see something happening around that. I know we do. But I just don't know how much we are driving efficiencies by, again, leveraging the resources of all those groups around workforce.
That's a great suggestion. It's along the same lines of what we're talking to GROW about. So I think that we can probably look at how to make that alignment, make sure that we leverage everything to our advantage that we need to. So we'll take a look at that, and I'll talk with Tara and maybe you directly, Michelle, outside of the meeting on maybe some of the beginning steps.
Great. It's very important work. All right, let's see. My computer keeps timing out on me and I have to put down my phone to do so, so bear with me. All right. I think that about covers it for committee reports. So with that, we will move right into programming and activity updates. Now, again, we've got a short meeting with the Innovation Awards happening today. So I guess the instructions are that we will take packet questions about the packet. Tara, is there anything that came up that we need to discuss as a group?
Michelle. Oh, it's going to be a little echo.
Hold on, I'm just going to talk from here, but my face is here. Sorry. Dana's here, so welcome, Dana. Really, everything should be in your packet. There were just a couple of additional highlights that I had intended to include in the packet and gotten left out. Regarding our financials, the report in your packet is through July 31st, which is only 8% of our new fiscal year. So obviously very early in. The carryover amounts are still projections at this time. We are still waiting on NKWIB to close out our prior year. So that should happen in the next week or so. And then by the time we have committee meetings, we should be able to get those updates to you. Our allocations are also still projections at this point in time, with the exception of youth. We did receive our youth funding, so it is actual. We did receive word verbally last week that some of our rapid response dollars should be coming, but we are still waiting on the official paperwork on that. So the expenditures year to date may seem on the low end. However, this is normal for the month of July, as most of the incoming invoices would have been are from the prior year. So just as a reminder, with being on the fiscal year, it can be a little bit disorienting for those who are used to more of a calendar year operation. So just wanted to remind you about those things. You'll see in your packet there are updates from both Corey Eimer on the operator side and from Ellen Bates on the direct services provider side. So if you have any questions that's there, we also have two of our programming key performance indicator reports in your packet. We have the year end for fiscal year 20, and then we have just the month of, sorry, poor David, he's trying to keep up with me and I'm talking really quickly. We also have the just the month of July indicator as well. And you can obviously see from July, most of what you're looking at is how it compares to this past year. So it's new yet, but we do have everything for fiscal year 20 in there as well. I will just say, obviously, we continue to be very concerned about the economy, but given all that it's been through, we are pleased that there is hiring happening in the private sector and elsewhere. We are seeing job openings. We are seeing, I've had a number of questions about this, so just have 3 minutes. If you have a question, please go ahead and interrupt me, but otherwise I'll just say that the unemployment rates are a little bit, not maybe what they've seen, they're pretty low. Last month they were in the high 4% range, like 4.5, I think, and then this month they're 5.7%. The reason for that is there's still a lot of people reporting that they are not seeking work. That could be because they believe that their layoff is not permanent and that they're going to be going back to their old job. It could be that they have a health concern or a child care concern and they don't feel like they can go back right now. But for whatever reason, some barrier, they're saying that they're not seeking employment. It's bringing the overall labor force participation rate down, and it's making the universe where we figure out unemployment rates. What just happened? Okay, sorry, we had a little technical thing over here. It makes the whole number seem lower than it probably is in terms of unemployment. So if you have any, I've talked to Janet here about this. I know she's on the call today. That was a really simplistic summary. But if you want to talk more, I know Janet has some information on this, but just did want to point that out because we have had some questions. Anybody else have a question about your packet?
This is John Baines. Minor question. It just looks like the data from these two KPI reports don't match in some of the months, like May and June. Is there a reason why those percentages on unemployment are not identical?
I don't know the answer to that.
I think that one of them is seasonally adjusted. The other is not seasonally
Okay.
adjusted. We tend to go with not seasonally adjusted on the monthly KPIs.
Okay.
Probably.
And I want to point out there is a typo in the applicant interviews. That should be 180, not 10. We have 180 verified interviews and 19 verified placements.
All right, thanks, David.
Great question. Any other questions? And if not, we can start talking about how we're going to do the awards. Okay.
Is this mic on?
This mic is, yeah, you can just talk. It's just the air.
Okay, so, hi everybody, sorry, Michelle, thank you so much for jumping in. That's, danger of getting done back-to-back calls and then having to get in the car, and travel over here, which I haven't had to do in a long time, so not used to the whole construction. So thank you, Michelle, for jumping in. I appreciate that very much. Appreciate everybody being on. I know this was a real quick meeting, but I had confidence in this group as always. We got through what we needed to get through. So thank you everyone for your reports. Now I see everybody. Hello. Thanks everyone for real quick. Don't hesitate to reach out. I know there was a lot of information in the packet, so please don't hesitate to reach out with questions about those. Okay, so that it before we.
Yeah, it looks like something happened with the Zoom, so I'm gonna adjust the camera and then I can hop up there and just kind of explain how it's gonna work if that's okay.
Okay, so give us just a couple of minutes to do some of this logistical technology stuff, okay? Hang tight.
So we'll be starting the awards promptly in like 4 minutes. Yeah, it's pretty close, excuse me. All I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna, whoops. We are zoomed in. Oh, it's nice to see everybody's face.
I know, that's what I said.
Okay, we zoomed out. So this is the ultimate widescreen camera. Okay, I just want to say really quickly, that looks better, that there was a lot of work that went into these awards. Not only just the amazing work for the people that we are honoring today, but also the effort to put this all together. So I just want to say to all of you that Katie Jo Kirkpatrick did so much to get this done, and I just want to say thank you so much to her. Really appreciate it. Looks like maybe we're having a little bit of an issue with the we emailed everybody. How do we get the program to them, Katie Jo? It looks like
I'm working on that right now. Let's try, if you look in the chat, hopefully that will work it open now. I sent a new link in the chat.
Okay. If for some reason it's not continuing to not work for you guys, then we can email it out so everybody has the program. And we'll, I assume, be posting it on our Facebook page as well for those that are joining via Facebook Live. So this is the, everything event. So we are having our Zoom meeting going on, and we're also streaming this on Facebook so that anybody who wasn't already here and didn't want to mess with it, everyone's welcome to join the Zoom because it's a public meeting. But in case they didn't want to mess with that, we're streaming it on Facebook as well. And so you can, Dean says it worked, so great. Thanks, Dean. And then, so if you have somebody that you would like to show one of the parts of it or the entire thing later, you can send them to our Facebook page and it will be just recorded there now, forever. So we will, Dean says no. Anyway, if you wouldn't mind, here in just a minute, while we need all of your cameras to be on like this during the meetings, thank you. Actually, Michelle or Dana, we need to adjourn. I just realized, did we adjourn?
We did not.
We need to adjourn, and then hopefully everybody will stay. Please stay. I just realized, Katrina, we did not get out Katrina has an event coming up, and it's on September 15th, I think I saw. She's nodding her head. And so we will email the flyer out. It is a focused opportunity to really help Black-owned businesses, business owners get some additional support. So we will email that flyer out to everybody so that you have a chance to see that and forward that out to your own networks. But now that we're starting, so Michelle, if you don't mind doing one more thing as leading the meeting today, can you please ask for a motion to adjourn for me?
I am happy to. Are there any other items that need to be brought up for discussion before we adjourn? Okay. Well, the time is 11:59 and we will adjourn the meeting and roll into our awards. Thank you, everybody, for coming today, and please stay on.